Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
Coming up this week, we are discussing the power required to win a stage of the Tour de France, as well as other Tour de France tech observations.
We also have your comments of the week and everyone's favourite, the bike vault. Let's get to it.
This week, the big French yellow bike ride is in full swing, aka the Tour de France. So this week, we're going to discuss some of the power that's required to try to win a stage of the Tour de France and compete against some of the world's best cyclists. We're also going to take a look at other tech observations. So I found it particularly interesting hearing all about race radios, but you have been doing some research into the power from Victor Lafay, haven't you?
Yeah, well, one of the great things about this modern era of cycling is a lot of the riders upload their rides to Strava, which means you can scrutinise them and analyse them and have a look. And some of them also upload their power data, which is brilliant. I love the transparency of that. Like, what have you got to hide? Go for it. The ones that don't upload their power meter, because they all have power meters now, are doing it because they're trying to hide the numbers from their competitors, or rather the competitors' coaching staff who will analyse it and see what the competitors are physiologically capable of and maybe try and scrutinise it so that they can spot weaknesses in their power profile.
Reverse engineer Tour de France riders.
If I had my way, I'd want them all to have their power visible.
I think, why the hell not?
It's so hard to judge it out of context anyway. But on to that, Victor Lafay, who won stage 2 into San Sebastian in incredible style, has uploaded his rides with power from the first 2 stages. So we can have a look at that and we can learn quite a bit from it. First thing is stage 1, he was up there with the selection. He finished an impressive 5th on stage 1. Now, he was right up there in the selection on that final key climb, which was about 5 minutes long for Victor.
Yeah.
During which he averaged around 500 watts for 5 minutes, 7.5 watts per kilo.
Which is outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if we sort of take 7.5 watts per kilo, times it up for my weight, which is about 81, 82 kilograms, 605 watts.
Big, isn't it?
That is a lot, which is basically what I can do for about a minute.
That's basically Ganna numbers.
That's a minute for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, 525 watts, my current weight.
Could you do that for 5 minutes?
No.
No.
I mean, I think if I trained for 5 minutes purely, I could maybe get like 460, 470 I've done for 5 minutes in the past. But that is like a one-off effort. After that, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The impressive thing is he's done this after one of the hardest Tour de France stages in history.
Well, if you look at the overall ride and the data we've got from that stage, Lafay has got 4 hours, 22 minutes, an average power of 254 watts, which, if you just looked at that in isolation, you go, yeah, okay, that's tough, but that's not unachievable for a trained cyclist. But what is impressive is how they've achieved that is because you've got really easy sections and then those bits at the end when it's outrageous.
Yeah, so there's a lot of descending and freewheeling where the power is 0, so the average power is deceptively low. The normalised would be much higher. It's been brutal, the racing. But on to stage 2 that he won. Yeah. Now, that was again a brutal stage, really high pace, and they reached the final climb, the Hezkabel, before the drop down into San Sebastian. We can see from Strava that the pace was ferocious, and in order to win the stage, he had to make the selection and be in that front group again, which contained Pogacar and Vingegaard and all the other guys. Yeah. Wout van Aert. He did, where's the thing?
411 watts we've got
Yes, here. 411 watts
for 20 minutes.
which is 6.3 watts per kilo.
So how much are you estimating he's weighed? I can't do quick
65
maths.
kilos. The crazy thing is then at the end, when they come off the descent, which was pretty easy, they were only averaging 200 watts on the descent. Yeah. Obviously riding out the corners, but a lot of freewheeling and a chance to recover for those guys. You know, that's zone 1 for them. Yeah. In terms of average power, at least. But then the run-in was ferocious. There was several attacks. There was one from Pidcock. There were several other attacks going on. I mistakenly just read his Strava file and thought the last 2 minutes where it was his attack. It wasn't. And there's 2 things that have either gone on here. So Strava does a thing where it automatically crops your ride. and hides the end point.
Well, you can select whether you want it to do that or not. You can go, do you want it?
But its default is that it does.
Yeah, to try and improve
maybe
safety and
he's
security.
got that on to hide where he lives, even though it's a race. He just does it by automatically.
Yeah.
Or he's deliberately cropped the ride and hidden the end point deliberately because he doesn't want to see what that final attack was.
Maybe it's because the power was that outrageous.
Well, so there is having scrutinised his Strava file, it says there's a discrepancy. So it says his peak power was 1300 watts. Yeah. But when you go on the analysis and you scroll along on the desktop app and you look for where that peak power came of 1300 watts, can't see it anywhere.
Oh, it's because it's hidden.
So I'm taking from that the 1300 watt peak happened in the final attack. He attacked in the final kilometre, averaging around 50 kilometres an hour because his peak speed was over 60k an hour in that final kilometre. You're going to say he's done it in just over a minute. I'm going to say that his peak power came when he launched his attack. Yeah,
that's the impressive thing for me is 1300 watts or whatever it was exactly is impressive by itself. Then add into the fact that you've got to continue to ride at a tough pace all the way to the finish line to hold off the likes of Wout van Aert, and you can see why pro racing is tough.
Be able to do that effort after already doing the hardest FTP test probably of his life, going up Hezkabel, that was savage pace up there.
Yeah.
20-minute test.
It blows my mind, honestly.
Yeah.
I couldn't do any of those just in isolation.
The GC contenders were all in that final group. Loads of riders were getting spat on the Hezkabel. Like, it was ferocious pace.
Yeah.
That is 6.3 watts per kilo is massive. Yeah. But I loved Sai's tech video showing, and we've got a full pro bike video coming of Pogacar's bike, so make sure you subscribe for that. There's loads of great little tech details on his bike, which I am delighted to see. Because in the past, we've had this thing of certain riders pay attention to the sort of tech and the gains that can be made. The race is going to be hard enough. Why make it any harder for yourself?
That's so true.
But then often you get really, really talented riders, like Quintana, who just don't care about the tech at all.
I think pro riders tend to be one extreme or the other. They're either fixated on all of the tech and the equipment, or they're like, look, give me a bike that works and I'll be at the finish.
Yeah, but I love that Pogacar's bike is tricked out with all little lightweight bits, 3D printed bits, like modifications to get it to that 6.8.
Yeah.
And not only that, the tyres. We spotted he's using the GP 5000 TT tyre, which makes total sense. And I wonder if you watched our Giro Hot Tech video, where we saw that Intermarché were doing that, and they've copied it. That GP 5000 TT tyre makes total sense for someone like Pogacar to use. Because they say it doesn't last as long, but for a pro, and if you
doesn't care less.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like the puncture protection is said to be the same as the GP 5000. It's got the same belt in it.
Yeah.
So,
Why
lighter,
would you not go faster?
rolling resistance, go for it, Pog.
As I was saying, speeds of the Tour de France. This year we've had crazy high speeds already. The first couple of stages have even been slightly hilly. Well, pretty hilly, actually. Stage 1, 41.5 kilometres an hour average speed. Stage 2, 42k an hour. And if you compare those to the speeds that riders were doing back in the day, say what we've got here, 1989 Tour, 37k an hour.
Yeah, so the famous Le Mans Fignon Tour, which we're going to do a video on this week.
I'm excited for that, actually.
Yeah, like that, 37k an hour.
Tech and bikes, 100% make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone says it doesn't. Big difference from the 1989 Tour with Le Mans and Fignon. They didn't have race radios.
Yeah.
But race radios are prominent in pro racing these days. So race radios have been around for ages, but what is new is that we're now starting to see little snippets implemented into the live TV coverage. And I've got to say...
A bit like on F1, isn't it?
It's kind of like F1, which I'll get to that in a minute. I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea, but it's not quite wowed me as much as I was hoping to be wowed by this being included in it.
Yes, I think I'd like to hear more stuff. I'd like to hear, riders and DSers slagging off other teams.
Like the juicy gossip stuff.
I've heard weird language being used.
What do you mean weird
language? Well, I'm wondering if they know it's being on, so maybe they're using code words.
Well, this is what I think should be happening. All bar 5 teams have agreed to have their race radio broadcast. So there's 5 teams which have been left out, which are Groupama FDJ, Cofidis, Jayco Alula, Alpecin and Movistar.
Boring.
They've gone, nope, not interested. So ASO are paying each team €5,000 for access to all this data, which I'm going to say, it doesn't seem like a lot of money for what they're getting access to.
All the juicy gossip.
All the juicy gossip. So they're then taking the race radio, it's getting filtered and moderated by an independent person, and then at a sort of later stage, selects bits are being broadcast so that other teams can't capitalise on the team tactics, which I think sucks out the fun.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. You kind of want to hear some tactics, or at least I want to hear them have to resort to code language.
That's what we used to do when I was racing at the times. We'd have a pit board out and we had a number system so we knew what we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forgot and was like, I just hope for the best.
Yeah.
But talking about Formula One, actually, like you did, that I think has got to be the pinnacle of where you want to aim to try and achieve and implement some of this technology. They've pretty much got live race radio direct in line with the live coverage. I know it's all slightly delayed, but it's all synced up, basically. I mean, if you really want to watch Formula One, you can choose what car.
No, I don't.
You can choose what car you look from, and you can choose what radio you want to listen to.
Yeah, I think we're quite a way off that with the coverage. But I do want, we always say this, I want some like telemetry type stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see like more real time speed and stats on the screen of like, I want to see what the power the riders are doing.
We're basically getting there.
Speed is. Yeah.
We're getting there with it. And I mean, fair play to the teams that have signed up and happy to this, because they're the ones that are pushing the innovation of the sport, and I'm all for it. And hopefully we see it develop further.
Yeah, one cool thing though, Victor Lafay, heard a rumour, because I mean, he's been incredible at the start of this tour. I think he's off to Ineos.
Don't tell anyone though.
One more thing before we move on to hot tech.
Yeah.
We want you to get a group of your friends. It could be a cycling club, it could be a group of your mates, and we want you to en masse just record a giant group of you just going, the UCI has no jurisdiction here. And then send it to us.
Yeah.
And then every time we feel the need to say that, which is quite often,
yeah,
we'll just play the clip instead.
Almost every week in the tech show, we do it. Upload it into the GCN app. That way we'll have access to choose which ones we want to play. Fantastic, thanks. It's now time for hot and spicy tech. Now this week, most of the real hot and spicy tech has actually been stolen by Sai in the Tour de France hot tech video, which is actually out last weekend. So if you haven't seen it already, I thoroughly urge you to go check it out. And if you haven't, well, you've only got yourself to blame because you weren't subscribed.
New BMC is my favourite.
Yeah? Oh, nice. I tell you what was my favourite, actually. Trek Madone with the crazy paint on it.
Yeah, that was good as well.
But what I wanted to discuss, one by Chainrings, Jumbo Visma.
Well, I mean, it's trigger warning for Adam Blythe and everyone else that was on Aqua Blue, because they didn't get on with them. But, you know, we saw this being used at the Giro d'Italia by Primoz Roglic, won the final time trial and won by. Although we did have a little chain drop.
Yeah, he did have, yeah.
But yeah, it appears that Vingegaard is going down the one by.
Yeah, so far it's been one by, which has surprised me and others. Are you surprised by it?
There's obviously deliberate choice has been made there. It's one of the big advancements since the Aqua Blue experiment.
Yeah.
Is that was then force level at the time. It's now gone on to red, the top tier.
Yeah.
And we've got the 10 tooth, and it's 12 speed, where it was 11 speed back then.
So quite big changes, actually.
Yeah, so you can have that bigger range with the 10 tooth. There are, of course, these other counter arguments that a one by drivetrain is less mechanically efficient because you have a greater angle of deflection of the chain, you know, bending the chain across the cassette.
Which I think is a valid argument.
Yeah. But then the counter arguments are you're reducing weight, and you've also made the bike a little bit more aerodynamic at the front by removing the front derailleur.
I'm intrigued to see if so, and at what point they switch back to using a dual chainring setup. Probably the super high mountains.
Well, maybe, but if he's got a massive whopper cassette on the back, then who knows?
Intriguing to see. Anyway, talking about the big French bike ride, got my big French bike ride bottle, which is available here at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com.
I've got a couple on my bike.
Oh, very fancy. And also, because we have been talking about Strava a lot at the moment, haven't we, in this week's show, using all the power data, Strava, we need to sort of welcome on board actually as a channel partner.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing loads more interactive with that.
Yeah, probably good. We're now partnered with Strava. I've actually used the mapping thing this week to map out the Tour de Station Ultimate 1000 route that I'm doing on the 1st of August.
Yeah.
We've done the Tour de Station before. I've done it. Connor's done it. It's hard enough as it is. Like, it's 250k with a Everesting in it.
That's actually outrageous.
This one, the Ultimate 1000, 1,000 kilometres with 26,000 metres elevation, so 3 Everests in a single ride.
Oh, you chose to do this?
Yeah. I thought it sounded like a good idea at the time, but then when I was mapping the route out on Strava and I was looking at all the climbs and all the profiles and stuff, and I was like, oh God, pray for Ollie. That is.
Maybe we need t-shirts that say pray for Ollie.
Well, I think so, yeah.
Anyway, there's going to be some exciting updates coming up on Strava, and we're also going to be getting involved with the GCN community over on the app as well, so yeah.
Time now for comments of the week. Play the man on rap.
Right on, y'all. Let's make the cycling world our fashion.
Every time. So first comment is from underneath last week's show. It's Philip Taylor 2366, and they
Do you reckon it's Phil Taylor, the darts player?
No, this is
great to hear that he started cycling, because I mean, darts isn't the healthiest of pastimes.
Potentially not. Also quite risky if you stand at the wrong end.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody called Phil Taylor has said...
It's the Phil Taylor.
It's the Phil Taylor. It says aero bikes are often quoted as saving X amount of watts at 45 kilometers an hour, which is a speed that most of us can't achieve for any real length of time. But would the benefits also be realised by cycling at 30 kilometers an hour into a 15 kilometre an hour headwind? Because as we all know, Murphy's law of the headwind is that whichever route you take, whichever direction you're cycling in, you're always going to be going into a headwind. It's actually really true, and that's a really, really crucial point to highlight.
Yeah.
That wind tunnel tests and the speeds that they're associated with are wind speed only. So the actual aerodynamic impact of what you're doing is your wheel speed, so the direction you're travelling, and the speed if you're riding into a headwind.
Yeah.
And it works the opposite way around. If you're riding 20k an hour and you've got a 10k an hour headwind, well, it's going to take 10k an hour off the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, absolutely spot on, Phil the Power Taylor. Bullseye.
Next comment is from user-NU5FX6EN9H. I actually wear that aero helmet for my daily commute into work. Is this you? Because sometimes I have seen you commute in an aero helmet.
That's only when I needed to bring it into work, and it was just easier to wear it than put it in a bag.
So the aero helmets are actually practical?
No, I wouldn't condone wearing a TT helmet to work, but in theory it could go faster. But the interesting thing is like, so on that, you know, we're talking about that combined airspeed thing. When we were testing that helmet in the tunnel at 45k an hour, the one that's behind us, this big boy.
The big boy?
Like 7 watts faster at 45k an hour.
Yeah.
But on like the opening leg of that time trial, I had like a 15 kilometre an hour headwind, and I was doing like 48k an hour and really pushing into the headwind. So then that's like a huge watt saving. Oh
yeah, because it's going to be even greater. Yeah, well, interesting point. Underneath Tour de France hot tech video that we were just referencing earlier that Sai went and filmed, Chris 1275cc, if Trek aren't using those £20 Lidl maintenance stands, they're missing a trick.
Yeah.
They do a good selection of bike stuff in Lidl.
They do, although the team put out like a communication that the pronunciation of the team, we're saying it wrong.
Are we?
Yeah. I know quite a few Germans.
Yeah.
And I checked with them, and they confirmed that the correct pronunciation of Lidl is Lidl.
Lidl?
Yeah.
Lidl?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you're German. But I'm not buying it. I'm going to continue calling them Lidl, because they call themselves Lidl on our adverts on English TV.
Yeah.
Because they say, spend a little,
live a lot.
Live a lot.
That's probably the greatest tagline ever.
They don't say spend a Lidl.
Spend a Lidl?
Leave elite. No.
Craig Carlson 4022 also says, one by gearing on a road bike. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that. Have it on my gravel bike. Love it for ease of use. But road racers trying it, we're in new territory. Well, we just discussed it, haven't we? So,
Eurobike tech video.
Yeah.
Because we put another one out because there was so much cool stuff there.
Because you filmed so much.
There was loads of stuff there. From Secret Brad 9259. This was about the free hub. So there was a brand called Velo. They had a wheel, 5-spoke carbon wheel. It was pretty bling. But my favourite bit about it was it had this free hub which was silent and had a very nice clutch design for like the ratchet. Maybe that's more efficient. Don't know. But people really liked the silent free hub.
See, I'm not a fan.
Well, I know, but if you like silent free hubs, let us know in the comments. Well,
I can't believe how many people are already riled up about it.
Well, Secret Brad says silent free hub all day long. Then my mates don't know I'm sitting on the wheel while they pedal through the wind.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Silent or loud free hub? What are you sort of thinking?
I'm not going to knock it till I've tried it. I quite like to try a silent one. I'm used to. The thing is, right, is we basically have gone down the route of loud free hubs.
Yeah.
Because when you bought like cheap crap wheels that came with like your first road bike, they were often very quiet.
Yeah.
And then they made it this thing that like the Chris King hub, the premium hub, the premium buzz. DT Swiss hub, they had like a buzz. And that was like the sign of a nice clicky ratchet in like a well-machined ratchet in a premium hub.
Yeah.
And so it was like an upgrade thing. And I think that's where it's come from.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
But I don't know. I don't know if a silent one could.
I'm a halfway house kind of guy. Not too quiet, not too loud. Anyway, I'm glad we cleared that up because it's now time for the bike vault. My favourite part of the show, and hopefully everyone's at home favourite part of the show.
Yep.
To get into the bike vault, you upload your picture of your bike into the GCN app. People at home can vote on it to either be nice or super nice. If it gets the most super nice votes, then we mentioned at the start of the show, don't we?
Yes. First up this week, the most super nice bike in the app from last week from Kolnig, who uploaded his Trek Madon. No, it's a nice.
Yeah.
Cranks, stupid position, middle of the cassette, wheels not aligned, cluttered, fussy background detracting from the frame. No.
Lovely deck, though.
Absolutely not. Yeah, nice decking.
Yeah.
But no. That's a nice. Next one is from Lance Childs.
I actually did some research because someone called Lance Childs used to live near where I lived and they were a kid when I was growing up. I think it's the same person.
Do you?
Yeah, if it is.
Is he hanging out playing darts with Phil the Power Taylor down the local pub?
I don't think so.
They're all connected.
Nice bike though.
Velo S5. What do you make of that?
I like it. I think is it like a custom paint? Yeah, custom paint job as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow, I like the paint job.
I like it. I just don't like the way it's precariously placed against that post.
Bad presenting
I'm
of the
gonna
bike.
scratch that custom paint job.
Yeah.
Also, I can't see it enough.
Yeah, I had to really.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice, I'm afraid. Real good potential, but no. Ramsey 666.
The mark of the beast.
The giant TCR Advanced 1. What is this? Is it Mr. Potato Head? Where's the bike?
What on earth is
there
that?
it is. There it is. You see it? It's positioned so it looks like Mr. Potato Head is on the saddle.
Oh, I quite like that he's done that.
Or is it? Well, kudos for getting Mr. Potato Head in the picture, but also I'm very worried about scratching your bike up. So
Yeah.
the incorrect gears, the cranks aren't aligned, the valves aren't aligned, handlebars aren't straight, it's at a jaunty angle, and you're potentially going to scratch all your paintwork.
He's won some comedy points,
Yeah.
but it's only a nice.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Next up, we've got Jay Dierom with a Rondo Rude CF2.
Oh, I like this.
Super nice. Done.
Oh, super nice. Easy. Bell was a bit rusty then.
Looks proper smart, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do like that. Super stealthy. What's your thoughts on the GPS mount going off of the steerer tube?
It's a special designed mount.
Yeah,
that,
it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, if it works for him, it's good.
Sam VDV.
A 70s refurbed bike.
Oh yeah,
A Rally Athena.
I like that.
I really like that.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Do you know what? That background suits the bike
It
as
does.
well. It's like he's set dressed it.
Maybe.
I'm going for it. I'm going super nice.
You're super nice that.
All day
After
long.
all we've said all the show.
No, because that works as a visual image. That works. It's good.
Super nice it is. People are going to hate on us for that.
Don't care. MPD Diesel next.
Specialised Tarmac SL7. Oh, I put a selection of pictures in here from this person.
They've uploaded Bumblebee.
Yeah, and the bike. I'm assuming they liked Transformers. Yeah, I like Transformers.
I like Gen 1 and Gen 2 Transformers. back in the day.
Yeah.
Like the movie where Optimus Prime dies.
Oh.
That's great.
There's
Amazing soundtrack. Like 80s power metal. Incredible.
There's a selection of other images with other Transformers characters as well. Look, I chose them all.
Yeah, but these are like the rubbish Transformers from the Michael Bayhem film, where it's just like someone's just filled a washing machine full of cutlery and put it on like... That's all you see. That's all you want. It's rubbish.
All right. What do you think of the bike then? It's just a nice, I think.
What's that stupid sword? That one? That's rubbish. Where is this?
I don't know.
Cybertron.
I don't know.
No.
I didn't take the picture.
Nice.
Okay, it's
If
a
it was
nice.
Gen 1 Transformers, it'd be super nice.
Right. Anyway, yeah, a bit hit and miss in the bike bot this week. I've enjoyed this week's show. I've enjoyed chatting all about the power data from rides at Tour de France. And if we can, we're going to maybe keep that going a little bit, shall we?
And Michael Bay is the worst director in Hollywood. His films are crap. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.